Welcome.
Welcome back. How you doing, man?
It's been 2 weeks. Do you remember your lines?
Man, listen, you know I remember my lines. Welcome to Religiously Incorrect. I am Pastor Stanford with my homeboy, Pastor Todd.
What up?
And we are brought to you by High Street Fitness with Mike Phillips.
Mike Phillips.
Getting it in. It's the middle of the summer, so y'all better get down there and get it right. Well, it ain't even summer yet, is it?
It's not summer till June 21st.
Man, it's been feeling like summer.
It's been feeling like summer. It's feeling like Sahara Desert.
I done had my air conditioner on for like 12 months.
Right. Oh, man, it's a great day. It's a beautiful day. I guess we're finally supposed to get some rain.
Yeah.
Thank God, because, Lord, listen, I was out there just cutting dirt. I was on my lawnmower. Just cutting absolute dirt because I love to ride my lawnmower. It is
therapeutic.
It's therapeutic, bro. And it's another Georgia me moment, you know. Mm-hmm. And the grass just wasn't growing, but you know, I had to get out there and do some cut. I even went down the street and did a corner cutback, basically where the weeds are too high, like on a corner.
Hey, Todd is that one dude on stepping. Was it Columbus Short? He was just riding around campus on the lawnmower.
Right, yeah.
Picking up, making good.
That's me.
Grabbing Shamika, throw her on the back of the lawnmower.
Hey, baby, you want to go get an ice cream cone? We good.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
She's there for me, good times and bad times.
Yes,
but yo, welcome to Religiously Incorrect. Make sure you like and share and tag somebody, comment. You know, we want to see y'all in the building.
Right now, y'all need to call people because I know we ain't been on in a while. So some people wondering where we at. We wondering where you at.
Well, you know, we was part of the writer's strike.
Yeah,
we were part of the writer's strike. We couldn't get any of our writers to write us any new episodes, so we were in solidarity. You know what I mean with the Netflix whatever it was supposed to be. I don't even know what it was on. I guess it's about streaming. And do you know what a part of it is? Maybe we can just touch on this at the top. Is that it was a partly because streaming has changed the nature of shows. Because back in the day, you know, if you was a writer for like Fresh Prince or something, I mean, you had a job with them for like 25 episodes, you know, for umpteen years that the show was on, right? So now with streaming, you know, you can have a show for one season, it just goes away.
Straight gone.
It just
and
goes,
everybody mad.
And everybody's mad, right. And the stuff nobody wants to watch just stays on. Like, you know, nobody cares. You know a show I never got to watch, but I wanted to watch, but it's been canceled. It's Young Rock, about The Rock when he was young.
I never even knew.
Basically, like growing up in a wrestling family.
You're talking about the
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, okay.
It's corny.
It's corny?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
People said it was good.
It was.
I used to be a wrestling fan when I was a kid, so I thought I might enjoy it, like the background stories. But anyway, so it went off after only 3 seasons, right? And then the other issue with this writer's strike apparently is that if you notice, all these streaming services are now removing their content from anywhere else so that you can only watch certain things on Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, Disney Plus.
Well, that's my problem.
Amazon Prime.
I don't care about the writer's strike. My problem is
bunk the writers.
It's too many streaming sites.
It's cable all over again.
Yeah, I mean,
and worse.
It was supposed to be you pay for this and you know it's less than cable.
And you
but
get
now
all
you
this.
got to get Peacock,
Hulu, Netflix,
Prime,
Amazon Prime,
Disney Plus,
TBN, the Gospel Channel, Black
Tubi.
Preachers, Tubi. Tubi's free, isn't it?
But you know what though? It's still cheaper than cable.
Are you sure?
Know. I don't think so. If you get all of them together.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. I don't have all of them, but.
Because we pay.
But the bad thing is,
Sling has gone way up.
Yeah, you see a good movie come on, and you be like, where can I find it at? It's on Amazon Plus, Amazon Pro. I'm like, I don't got that one. Why can't it be on Hulu or just
Apple
give us Hulu
Plus,
or Netflix?
Listen, all I got to say is, as much as these prices are going up, just buy me an eye patch because I'm about to be pirating all over again. Because I mean, they're almost forcing.
Bring back the red box.
Okay, so here's the other mail my DVDs to me. Okay, here's the other issue with that, though. I'm going to go somewhere with this at the top of our show. There's another issue connected to this, though, and that is now they're not only taking their shows off of other platforms so nobody else can watch them, but they're just randomly taking shows off their own platform so they're just not available.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
They're just doing it. And I think they're almost doing it like, remember when Disney kept putting out the same tapes of old movies over and over again. They like, this is the very last time you can get the Little Mermaid. Back when she was still white, the way it was always meant to be. I'm joking. Hey, they losing their minds over Black Mermaids, man. I've never seen people lose their minds more than over fictional characters who they term another race.
Unbelievable.
An actual fictional species.
Straight fictional.
A species. So anyway, now they're taking stuff off platforms. Here's the third crazy thing. They say, the writers are saying that the studios are already talking about using AI to write scripts for shows.
Why not?
So
everybody else using it.
Everybody else is using it. So how are we going to navigate this world? Because I read an article yesterday about a minister in Germany who did an all artificial intelligence church service.
Well,
no, the entire service.
Okay.
Not just the sermon.
Okay.
He didn't just ask for I guess he asked AI to write like a hymn, the call to worship, the whatever, the liturgy, everything, and then the homily, or when they call it the homily, the sermon, everything. Mm-hmm. And like, it was like this stunt, I guess, at a real church, some Anglican church, and it was like a 2-hour line for people to get in to be a part of this AI church service. Wow. So apparently,
it's the thing.
That's where we're at.
Well, I just saw a lawyer got fired. You see, a lawyer got fired because he had AI write his summary, but it had all kind of made up.
It had made up cases. Yeah, it was referring to cases that didn't exist. Yes. Watch, stop. It was referring to cases that don't exist, and that's actually real. Like, if you ask AI to write you a biography, it will start making up streets that you grew up on. It'll start just making up.
You literally have to read through it. And,
you have to be careful.
Yeah. And
there was a university after a shooting. Was it in Virginia or somewhere? There was a university after a shooting. They sent out like a letter of comfort, like a message to the students, and somebody wrote it with AI. Somebody wrote it with AI.
Because it's making people lazy.
We got to do a whole show about this.
Just writing everything.
It's about to make me lazy.
Cass is writing their girlfriend love letters. They're going back to writing love letters now.
There was a song that they had to take off of streaming services because not only can they do AI as far as like written, but now they can AI people's voices. And somebody wrote a Drake song with Drake's voice.
Wow.
Like a deep fake.
Great song, by the way.
And it's a great song.
Great song.
It's actually a great song. It had like millions of listens on Spotify, and like some dude just uploaded it, and they had to keep taking it down. Like, the studio was like, first of all, this is not a Drake song. They're literally using Drake's voice. You know how that started? Remember GPS? You could download people's voices like Snoop Dogg or Martha Stewart or Jeff Foxworthy or somebody. Well, now you can literally take a sample of a famous person's voice or anybody's voice and then just say, write a song, because AI, remember, they live in the world. That's why we say AI can write scripts and can write songs, because all of this is already uploaded to the internet. If every episode of Seinfeld is already basically out there, right, then AI is going to know the style,
find it,
and the tenor and the jokes and the tone that it uses. Same thing with Drake. They know, So
some old preacher is saying the Lord is fast coming.
Yeah.
He's fastly coming.
He's fastly coming. And all I'm saying is, if you grew up like we did with movies like iRobot.
His preachers throwing away they dates. They throwing away their commentaries.
Yeah. What I need this library for? Give me an iPad, call it a day. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just like people have been caught preaching other people's sermons or notes or whatever, plagiarism, whatever, somebody's going to get caught preaching. And and here's the dumb thing. Writing, music, speaking, poetry, speeches, it's all a part of the common vernacular and language. Right. The lazy part is, just like a commentary, when you don't even take the time to put it in your own voice or connected to the people that you're talking to. And you literally just listen. I know some of you, because I was a young man. There were a couple of times where I just literally read a Matthew Henry paragraph verbatim. And those of you that don't know who Matthew Henry is, he's a commentary writer. And, you know, famous commentaries. You ain't got no sermon. So you just write whatever, you just read whatever's in the notes. You know, so that's the laziness. So what's up, Pastor Glenn, Pastor Tatum, Pastor Carter? So good to see you guys. Give Reverend Carla our love. Hope she's feeling better.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Who else we got there? Somebody else we missed at the top? Somebody else? Oh, that was Pastor Carter too. All right, you know, it's been real. It's been a couple weeks, Pastor Jeff. And, you know, I don't want to spend all night on this, but, you know, this is where we're at in life with the writer situation. Creativity, and I guess here's the last thing I'll say about this. Creativity has already been taking a hit because we live in the world of the remix and the redo.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's almost no original ideas, which is why I was saying, I think before we were even on the air, that I actually wanted to watch this Young Rock show. Did I say that on the air or off the air?
Yeah, you said on over.
Is that on the air?
Yeah, we said.
I'm losing my mind. That's how it goes. I said I wanted to watch that Young. The only reason is because it was actually a fresh idea about a theme or a show that hasn't been Pastor Patton. Listen, we're working on him. We're working on him. We are working on him.
It ain't gonna happen, Bishop.
It's not gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. But at least the show was original. You got The Color Purple being redone, which I think is sacrilegious. They already, you know, they're doing the musical version.
You know, I would say it's sacrilegious,
They're doing the musical
but
version.
Fantasia is in it. And so since Fantasia is in it, if you don't want me, then don't talk to me.
That's not how it goes. She says, dun, 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 dun. It was a fire album. It was a fire album. But yeah, I mean, there's reasons to watch it. And I did go see the play. It wasn't her, but I went and saw The Color Purple play, and it was powerful. I've seen it a couple times, actually. Pittsburgh, locally, they did it right here in Youngstown. It was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like original ideas, and my fear is that people are going to be lazy, but also creativity was already taking a hit. And I don't care what nobody says. I think it's a part of the generation we're living in. There's just so much behind us that we're like living at the bottom of a pile of content because it's so hard to come up with something fresh now in any vein. And that does include the church. That it includes our sermons.
Absolutely.
I mean, when's the last time there's really been like a fresh move of even sermonizing and style? It feels like we're just seeing stuff with like better cameras and different stages, but it's like
over
the same
and over
themes.
again. Yeah, over and over again.
TD Jakes and Juanita Bynum, and it was like the last big
And I don't know,
shift.
Are you like me? Like I can be listening to somebody preach, and while they're preaching, I've preached this message.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, I'd have said this there.
I would have went this way. I would have went this direction.
Or, you know, I went there. And
Or I didn't think of that.
Yeah,
Once in a while, I didn't think of that.
Yeah,
Right.
uh-huh.
But other
Did
times,
I write it down and say
Did I write
it
it down? Hey, I don't know what they heard in this church. I've been looking around like, is anybody streaming this? Is anybody streaming this? No? Okay. These are my notes now. I'm like the African guy on that one movie. Your notes belong to me now. This is my sermon.
Hey, I just go watch all Sylvester stuff up in Texas.
Don't nobody
watch Sylvester in
around here
Texas.
watch Texas. So you got to find you an unknown church in another state. That's what you got to do. You got to find you got to find a church in some
The bad thing
state.
is when you find somebody unknown, then they get known.
Yeah.
And everybody start going back and watching this.
You are hit big time. You are hit big time. Well, I hope you guys missed us. Do me a favor. Make sure you like and share. And while you're doing that, it's time for Meme of the Week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
We are, these are all jokes. We are just playing.
All right, y'all. So we've been doing video memes of the week for a while, but this one was just too good. It's not even a fresh joke, but it's definitely worth our discussion. Pop it up online. Here it is. When you're singing a solo in a black church and they holler, "Take your time," that means you messed up a little.
You might have messed up a lot.
You probably messed up a lot.
You probably messed up a lot.
When they say take your time, that means you've already blown it.
That means you were supposed to be singing alto.
Yeah.
And you either want soprano or tenor.
You off the beat.
Yeah, everybody else wants something different.
Everybody's off. Yeah, take your time, Pastor. Now, if a preacher or somebody's preaching real good, that can be a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't. They did to me a little bit. I was like, I'm gonna be short. No. I'm like, okay, well, I have to acquiesce to the people.
Listen, y'all better not tell Todd.
Don't ever tell me to take my time. I will take all the time. Because when you miss a week,
oh yeah,
you got to take your time and last week's time.
That's
but when
right.
you're singing, that's the difference. This is very specific. This is specific to musical presentation,
right,
in the church, and particularly the black church. If somebody says take your time,
they're literally telling you to pause, stop, reset, start over because you just killed what you done.
they're telling you to put the mic down and sit down somewhere. That's what they're telling you. They're telling you this is not your gift.
Retch around here. Retch around here. Grab another mic.
Take your time means find another ministry. Take your time means there's no oil here.
Take your time means Pastor don't ever have them up
Pastor,
again.
do not bring them back. Take your time means that we prefer silence. And nobody wants to. Take your time in the church. Take your time in the church is the equivalent of telling the whole infield to move up when you go in the batter's box. There's no worse feeling in the world. There's no worse feeling in the world, and I'll tell you why I know this. When you step in that batter's box and the coach says, everybody move up. That is what take your time is. That is take your time.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Everybody
means,
move up.
That means this is about to be a dribbler. Do your best, baby. The Lord understands. And then they get up. That's the worst thing. Because then they get up and try to clean it up with the worst holy insults in the world. They be like, everybody praises him in their own way.
The Bible says make a joyful noise.
He didn't say an in-key noise. Heaven knows the key. No, they say the angels were singing with you.
Wasn't that a sweet smelling sacrifice? Did not our hearts burn with truth? No, our ears burned.
Burning with heartburn. Listen,
we done.
Listen, and this is not the time. I said something to a friend when I was up in PA. I said to a young musician I knew, I said, unfortunately, there's no off time to like perform in church anymore because everything's the main event.
Yeah.
When we lose Sunday night services and evangelistic services and the times where the kids can get on and try. Now, I mean, if you get up at this point, you are probably embarrassing yourself in front of some people.
Absolutely. If
You
not
know,
the
that's just
whole
the way
world,
it is.
because
everybody's
streaming.
Because I will pull my phone out and I will record this. I will record this. So
what we want y'all to do is take y'all phones out next Sunday and record us some take your time moments.
Oh man, listen. If you want to get put out your church this week,
hashtag take your time.
Take your time. I love it. I love it. Send them to us. We'll start a new segment called Take Your Time because it will make it to social media. That is correct.
All y'all gotta do is come to my church and hear me sing every day.
Take your time, Pastor Jeff.
Every Sunday.
Take your time, Pastor. Hey, y'all, we thank our sponsors, the Phillips Care family of businesses, starting with Phillips Care Lawn Service. And why? Because it is going to rain this week, at least where we're at. Mm-hmm. And that means that your lawn will grow. And listen, I'm tired of getting calls as a councilman about your grass not being cut. Call Phillips Lawn Care Service. I think they even have payment plans. I'm going to start making up parts of this announcement. They have payment plans, Afterpay. They're on Amazon Prime. I'm sure they take cash, credit, money orders, food stamps, EBT, whatever. Just get that lawn cut so that I don't have to get that phone call at the next council meeting. And while you're at it, check out Phillips Care cleaning service. They do residential and commercial. I'm tired of telling you how nasty your house is. You need to get it cleaned up. But no, for real, springtime, summertime is the time to get those
Do they
carpets.
expect you to come cut the grass?
Actually, they do. They really do think that I'm supposed to be out here like with a weed whacker. I mean, the stuff people expect public officials to do is hilarious. But anyway, Phillips Care Cleaning Service. Call my man Fernando. I don't even know the phone number because they took it off the screen. But y'all know it by now. Look up Phillips Care LLC on Facebook and make sure you make them your vendor. I'm telling you, they do a great job, a professional job, and they're a black-owned business. And we thank them so much for being a sponsor. If you want to be a sponsor, of course, reach out to us on social media.
Yes, sir.
Send us an email. Let us know.
A check.
Coke, Pepsi, Tesla.
A check.
Your money's good with us. We take money, dollars, pesos, rubles, Putin. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Anybody, basically. Kim Jong-un, all of y'all. We got you. We start doing, what do you call
Like
it?
translate everything.
We start doing propaganda for you. You know, it is what it is.
Bitcoin.
Crypto. Our subject tonight, y'all, and we reason we want you to like and share because I want you to jump into this. And you know what? If we had been smarter about this, we would have pulled Pastor Tatum into this because of the endeavor that she's on. But the subject, and I want to make sure, Pastor Tatum, that you really tear in and give us some comments, is the kids are not all right. And particularly our kids are not all right. I'm sure Pastor Tatum has statistics, but we don't even have to look at numbers.
We don't.
Here is the facts. Depression, suicide, esteem issues are at all-time highs among youth. A lot of this is attributed, obviously, to social media and pressures and all of that stuff. But, I mean, it's become like, I don't even say epidemic, endemic, meaning it's like a pandemic that won't end.
Right.
You know, it's becoming endemic. And I've been in the position, and we have seen young people taking their lives. We've seen more anxiety and other mental and emotional struggles. And I guess, Pastor Jeff, the first starting point for people like us, the starting point for people like us, and I'm not saying it as pastors, I'm saying it's just guys.
Right.
I'm 40 or 50. You know, I'll be 41 in a few days. Hey, y'all, my Cash App is $ Pastor Todd Johnson with 2 Ds. Tuition's not getting no cheaper. I'm just saying what I'm saying. But the starting point for us, honestly, because of the generation we were raised in 70s and 80s, 90s, you know, coming up, is, man, these kids are just sensitive.
Right.
You know, we live in an offended generation. You know, we got talked about all the time. We got bullied all the time. You know, we went through awkward stages. We struggled to figure out who we were, and we're all right. You know, and honestly, and I'm being transparent because it's religiously incorrect not to say the right answer all the time. Sometimes I still struggle with that as a default answer because I have such a hard time relating.
Right.
I do. I have. Absolutely. And I think that that's where adults need to start at, is that a part of our problem with our children and young adults in general is that we have a hard time relating. And we just don't know where to start because it's not an issue of that we have not felt what they feel. It's just that for some reason, the conditions... We handled it differently. We handled it differently. The conditions, the environment, the answers given to us were incredibly different. And I think that it's kind of put it out of our minds into a different recess of our minds. Not that it's not there, but it's like compartmentalized differently for us than it is for the next generation.
Absolutely.
That we're with. So when you say the kids are not all right, from your observation, what you're saying, we're both raising kids?
Well, I mean,
what do you mean? What do you see?
Let's just start with last night. 20 kids.
Oh, my goodness.
20 kids at Subway.
Oh, it was way more than that.
Was it more than that?
Oh, it was way more.
Was it 20 that got arrested or something?
I think like 20 might have gotten or apprehended or detained or whatever. It was like, yeah. So there was a large gathering, another teenage party that turned into far more, and I'm sure it was a few bad actors to the most bad behavior, right? But it's obviously facilitated, as we've all seen, by sort of an atmosphere of anticipating and instigating and encouraging the bad behavior. So yeah, it was crazy, man.
And then, I think one of the things is, I think, they said at least 20 kids was apprehended.
Okay.
And I don't think every kid, and I wasn't there, so I'm just going off what I see.
Right.
In kids. A lot of people gets apprehended, not because they've done anything wrong, but because they have a total disregard for law. Instead of going home and dispersing, when the police say disperse, they want to act, you get big and bad.
Well, that's what I saw at the festival when I was coming home from PA, and that was about the time we had the incident at the festival. Mm-hmm. That's what I saw. I was riding by that gathering.
Right.
Coming down Parkman Road, and I'm going somewhere with this, and it looked like, just because I've been in these spaces so many times and seen it, like, yeah, this about to be something.
Right.
Just people milling around outside, like the gathering at that point didn't seem to be terribly contained. And it's just kids being kids. You're like, kids, because I know what I've been doing, running between cars, out in the parking lot, and you got kids thinking, they're just being kids, so I'm not blaming anybody. But I said to myself, I wonder if I should pull in there and just say, hey, y'all, it's me. Is everything cool? We straight? Is the party shutting down? Because this is in my ward, by the way. I'm a council person. Pretty decently known pastor, so most of these younger ones know me. Their parents do. It's just like, hey, yo, something told me that if I stop by, that there is a high likelihood that I might not be received well. And I don't even know whose party it was. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that I've had a mixed response of what you just said about if we even ask.
Right.
Like, yo, y'all straight? Hey, there have been times when I've tried to approach, like, I'm on your side. I kind of don't want anybody to think anything about you.
Right.
Can I just kind of, hey, is everything good? And just letting you know, neighborhood might get kind of jumpy on you if y'all stay out here like this. Sometimes that gets a huge pushback. So here's the part that you just said about the lack of authority. That's another wrinkle to what makes it hard for us to relate and even effectively address the issue, is because whatever turmoil the children are going through, and I do believe some of it is trauma, as they call it.
Trauma-induced
and stuff like that. But once it manifests in disrespect,
right,
people like us just see bad kid.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's a big, you know what I mean? Like, that's a barrier. Like, all right, because now I'm having a hard time caring for you as this gentle flower of life's possibilities who just needs to be steered. I have a hard time because that old school black respect standard in me.
And see, the thing that the difference probably between you and I is you see bad kid and I see little nigga, I'm from Youngstown.
Bruh.
I will bust you in your face.
Yeah.
I will knock you out. And I know that's not the right thing to do. I know it's wrong, but I feel like, that's what worked for me.
And it's tough because sometimes it seems like that's the only thing that'll work with them, because we're also living in the age of, no paddling, no spankings, no whoopings. And what's the first thing black people say when kids act up? Y'all just need to get whooped.
Right.
Y'all ain't been whooped enough. This is the only answer we got. But it actually makes sense to us because we know it's a generation that hasn't gotten it like that. Hasn't had that heavy-handed thing. But yeah, what you just said about the authority thing, I don't even know where to begin with that, because you don't want to take the blame the parents track.
Right.
But obviously.
And I don't know if you saw it on Facebook. One of the parents on Facebook today was saying, what do I do? I know y'all saw my kid.
Okay, yeah.
What do I
did see it.
What can I do? I'm on, the father ain't around, blase. Ain't no mentors. And, that's another thing.
I got tagged in that conversation. I was like, please don't call me. Just because, I don't even know what to say. Because people were like, literally, like a kid, like a 16-year-old, and not this child or any of these kids, but, I noticed like to get those random calls like, I found a gun in my kid's home, talk to him, pastor. I'm like, about what? Like, target practice? What are we talking about? Like, I'm scared of him. What am I doing? And that's a fear for us, because once they hit a certain age, we keep talking about how white people think that, they're grown and they're bigger than they are. We do too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's not totally unjustified because obviously that age group is doing some things that we didn't all do.
Absolutely.
And so, but you said that and we've had this mothers, I'm a single mother. I've tried my best. How do I keep them out these streets?
Well, I think one of the problem is, and let's just be honest, and I think this is something we tend to avoid. We tend to avoid this subject. I don't know how many things you've tried to do. I've tried to do several. I know several people who have tried to do several, saying, and we still subtly get, the youth ain't got nothing to do. Well, when we do something, y'all either ain't bringing them out, they ain't showing up, and I hear it now, and I can hear it. Well, we didn't see it. We didn't know about it. I mean, but we're trying.
We are trying. And I'll say that a part of this is I can't help but have a woulda, coulda, shoulda, because a lot of the people who are crying out for help, some of them may have engaged to a point, but oftentimes, and a lot of this goes back to maybe the parents having their struggles as young parents. Right. So you're not blaming them, but they likely did not engage with the resources that were available. Mm-hmm. Many didn't. Some do. Right. But many don't. Mm-hmm. And for the number of kids in our little towns that are not engaged in anything structured, I don't care if it's sports, Boy Scouts, church program, and Lord knows I'll get back to church program in a second, any type of church affiliation, or just anything that is consistent and positive. And by the way, there's this constant call for us to do things. Mm-hmm. We can only do so much, and we can only do so much with the people who are willing to engage with what we're doing as consistently as they're willing to do it. And honestly, all of us who have tried to work with youth have dealt with the fall off of when something is fresh and cool. The easiest thing to do is to like somebody's Facebook status about all the things we need to be doing with our kids. Right. But forget the money, because first of all, you're not giving me a dime to do it. And I'm talking about just like, hey, can anybody put in $5? Can anybody put in $10? If everybody that likes some of the statuses about we need stuff for our kids just sent me $10, we could we could do a whole summer camp for every child and all that stuff. But then not even making the means to drop them off, reinforce what we are doing or whatever. But the other part is that this is often deeper than just some program. And I think we have to acknowledge that. Mm-hmm. That what we're seeing is a breakdown that is deeper than, a mentorship group. It's deeper than a sports league. Right. It's deeper than putting more counselors in a school. I think there's a breakdown at the base level of who we are as a people. Absolutely. Family structure. I think that all the things that we have said don't really matter, or you can make it without, or you can make it through. And listen, heroically, I believe in the people who have made it through in less than ideal circumstances. But I feel like it's beyond anecdotal at this point. It's beyond just stories. I think the overall feel, and I hate to use this word, but I use it all the time, vibe of who we are as a culture, and thank you for saying that, Leah, the culture, is that we have de-emphasized the little things, forgetting that the little things are the building blocks of big things. Right. The little things are the building blocks of big things. Little things like yes, sir, no, sir, and respect. Put Leah's back up there. Little things like structured time when you're young, like there's a such thing as a bedtime. Little things such as you really will be genuinely punished for bad behavior and bad performance in school. Little things like respect the decisions and the movements of adults, teachers, coaches, principals, even if you don't 1,000% agree, and don't become your kid's warrior over every little perceived slight. Right. Even though I know unfairness happens, even though I know favoritism happens, I feel like our desire to try to right the ship of favoritism and mistreatment and injustice has taken us in a whole nother way. Leah said, I'm sorry, I was getting ready to get to it right there. And she said, it's not about the doing all the time. The culture is killing us. I'm there. The culture we've created that we've come to accept, and now y'all can take it down. And we have to acknowledge it and stop participating in it as adults. And by the way, no matter how much you try to tell your child to do, the number one thing your child is doing is watching you.
Absolutely. Go ahead and put Pastor Tatum.
Come on, Pastor Tatum.
That's excellent too. A part of the issue is the forced maturation of maturity.
Yeah, read all of it. They can't see all of it. Read all of it. Forced maturation.
We treat them as adults, dress them like adults, and
expose them to adult things.
Yeah, I can't see that far.
My bad. Expose them to adult things in which their brain still developing is not prepared to handle. Come on, CJ.
I was just going to say, with that thought, y'all saw the clip of the pastor reading to the board, the school, the book. Did y'all see that clip? There's a clip of a pastor reading the book that they use to teach kids
I did see that.
Sexual
Sex.
stuff. And he's reading it to the board, and the board is like, hey, can you please stop reading it?
Right.
He's like, wait a minute. We're adults, so we can kind of have this conversation. But
Right.
you're telling me to stop. Just that you're giving them way too much information.
Way too much information too early.
Too soon.
Way too soon.
But that's a response, probably an inappropriate response to the fact that the kids already know too much and are already doing too much. So now the schools, rightly or wrongly, which I agree with what you're saying, they're saying like, well, if the kids are already having sex at 12 and 13 or claiming to or pretending to or whatever.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. Dry humping.
You ain't nothing, boy.
But the forced maturation doesn't start in the school. And you don't have to like this if you don't want it. But the forced maturation is over objectifying children, male and female. I didn't remember ever being described by my parents as fine. My mom never called me her fine little man. I don't remember being called little player, little, you might be one little joke about watch out, little girl, that kind of little innocent stuff. But like the idea that, and you said, you're talking about dressing them up in many grown men and women's clothes.
Well, every TikTok dance, most of the TikTok dances are very sexual.
Suggestive.
They're suggestive. And I don't know how many, the mother and daughter doing this and everybody thinks it's cute. And I'm not downing nobody on what y'all do. I'm just saying some of it is too mature.
I think it is
for our
too.
Children. Now here's the thing. I'm getting up for work the other day. Getting up for work, and my son don't got no bedtime. He just stay up.
We know my kids are trying to chase
as long as he wants.
Standard of freedom.
But but he is on National Honor Society. So hey, if you want to stay up, as long as you get the A's, do what you got to do. But the thing is, I'm getting ready for work, and I hear a voice, and I know it ain't my son's. So I bust in his room. He's on his, he said it was just the game.
Okay.
But these kids are talking to people all throughout the night.
Bruh.
In their room with the door closed, talking to grown people.
Other states, other countries.
Right.
Yeah.
We have literally sin at the tip of our fingers at all
day
times. And I don't even know how to put on these. And I know they're on here, child lock thing.
They know how to undo them. They know how to.
I don't know how to do them.
They know how to. Well, whatever it is, they could put it on for themselves and take it off for themselves, and they could block you from the phone. They could run the phone out, and that does play a part. But I just don't think. I think that there's a toxic combination of overexposure for all of us. All of us are addicted to our phones and media and constant screen time and all that stuff. But when you add to that, and I hate to sound so evangelical or whatever, but to me, it's an agnostic idea. It's a neutral idea, just basic morality. And one of the conversations that we're not having is we're not just, Messiah was upset with me because I didn't let him come say, oh, you shouldn't have did that to him. Messiah can come see me anytime. I will come get him. Matter of fact, I might try to grab him this week or next. But that's my little dancing buddy from church.
I saw them.
We don't agree on the same morals and values and the limits of them, and even the circumstances in which they might be warped a little bit. Because I said this to our group. Matter of fact, it was Leah and your wife. We were just chatting and talking about some things. I said it used to be like, is stealing wrong? And then we'd have to think of extreme manners in which it might be okay to steal. it would be like, well, Hurricane Katrina and people didn't have no food. They just had the store was abandoned. They needed food. Is it technically stealing?
Right.
Is that homeless man who just wanted a sandwich steal? You know, we're just like, literally, you watch a video about stealing and somebody try to stop them at the door. Literally, the justification will be, well, what's their problem? That's $1 million company. It ain't that serious. Why are you even trying to stop them? Everybody do it. It's so stupid. People getting murdered. Why don't you worry about catching murder? Like, literally, we just keep lowering. And our kids are listening to this. And then any adult or any authority or anything, that filters into, why can't I get up when I want to in class? Mm-hmm. Why do I have to follow the instructions to be on this team? Why can't I? So it just becomes this complete thing.
Why can't I be on YouTube with a gun, although I make $1 million?
Right. John's like, what's the problem, y'all?
What did I do wrong?
Why can't I? You know, and so that idea, but honestly, there is a mental pressure that it's real. Because I could say there were kids I scrapped with, bullied by. I got heck by my own family, truth be told. But I think it's a different, because I was the nerdy little kid. I was the little runt, nerdy kid, whatever, and now I'm just getting my revenge now. I mean, that's why I preach the way I do. You come to my church, I'm going to talk about you. But what I will say is there was not the idea that, number one, I am 24/7 being tormented, where literally my life is put. Social media, the key word to me is media. Like, what if every embarrassing moment of my life was going to live forever? Every person that I ever argued with, every person that ever ganged up on me or, you know, just teasing stuff.
Right.
And that's forever in the ether.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a mental pressure that's combined with a moral failure.
But here's the thing, Pastor Todd. There was a time, and I know we keep on going back and we can't go back, but there was a time where you couldn't watch TV all day.
Couldn't.
All night. It cut off on you.
Right.
If you turned it on, it was just shh.
No, first it was a national anthem.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now we have, you know, everything's on all the time. Site, it's all,
including our brain.
Yeah, that's what you never shut down.
Right.
You wake up and the first thing you do is check your Facebook post or your TikTok page or your Instagram. You check them first.
Right. And we do. I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the pastor tonight said, can you take 30 minutes off your phone? I was like, no. No, I cannot.
The devil is a liar.
I need to upload this photo I just took of you right now. I need to do this. This is my number one mission. Not listening to you. Sorry, Dr. McMickle. Listening to you is not my number one mission. My number one mission is to get this on my Instagram so everybody knows that I'm at this service listening to Dr. Mark McMickle. But Leah said that we're all programmed, and we are. And you're not going to violate your programming once you've been programmed.
Right. We're in the matrix.
And we are. And let's just be clear. Our reasonings, our comments, even our conversation is being absorbed. And a big part of this is distrust. How many young people have you heard say these lines? I don't trust nobody.
Oh my goodness, so many.
I don't trust nobody. Many. It's like, you're 13. How you want to talk about you don't trust nobody? You know why? Because you live in a world where you have access to every adult that a previous generation was taught was special, respectable, whatever. You know all of their warts by the time you're 10. There are people now like just finding out. If you're our age, you probably just now found out your uncle was sleazy or the preacher did something wrong or da-da-da-da.
You know, your grandfather had a baby by such and such.
I'm serious.
They had but they stayed together.
But you didn't even know it.
You didn't know it.
It wasn't your bit. Remember grown folks' business? I was preaching about this a couple weeks ago. Remember grown folks' business? There is no such thing as grown folks' business. So, like you said, the forced maturity is not just image. The forced maturity is mentality. Okay, I discovered all these old soul songs that I know my parents knew of, but I never heard. I was never going to hear them. And it's not just because they were super saved. It was just like, I'm not going to play this or say this in front of my kid. We were still raised in the, in certain households, even if you ain't super saved, holy, you ain't, am I 6-year-old ain't watching that rated R movie?
Right.
Go in the other room somewhere.
Right.
You don't be out here with us.
Absolutely.
When that tragedy happened with this young girl in Youngstown, getting shot, she was taken to a street party.
Right.
with adults.
Can I tell you why? Because I thought of this subject. Can I tell you why I thought of this subject?
Why?
I'm at the Linda's place getting ribs.
Okay.
You know, up here I'm there getting ribs, and there's a younger guy behind me. His girlfriend, his baby mama, and his baby gets out the car. They're not riding together.
Okay.
They come up, they start arguing. Now they all can't be no more than 19.
Okay.
They're arguing, and I'm trying to stay out of it, although I hate the whole thing of arguing.
Right.
She cusses him out, gets back in his car. Dude picks up rocks and start hitting the car with rocks.
With the baby.
With the baby in the car. And I'm like, oh, bro, come on, chill, man, chill. So I'm like, all right, that was bad enough.
Okay.
So she pulls off, skids off. She comes back
If y'all are watching, tell y'all side of the story, by the way.
She comes back about a half an hour later. No, not even half an hour. About 15 minutes later. And that was like 5 thug. Well, no, I hate to call him thug, but you could tell, right behind him.
That's fine. You're a racist.
She comes back and she yells out the window, y'all you see that light skinned NIGGA in front of y'all? He's a mark. I give each one of y'all $100 to beat him down right now. He's a BA. I'm like, what is going on here? Can I please get my ribs so I can get home? This is too much.
And the kids are exposed.
And the kids are exposed to all of this.
This is every day.
But it's kids having kids, for one.
Right. True. And Tatum said they've learned to equate trust to anything or anyone that satisfies their desired agenda. And can I be clear here? This is not just like, oh, if your family is unstable or dysfunctional, you're the one with the problem. All of our children are dealing with image issues.
Absolutely.
All of our children are dealing with a world that is like constantly on and never off. Mm-hmm. And the best of us, I mean, come on, we all gave our speech about how we're not going to buy none of our kids' cell phones and stuff until a certain time and all this. Now I'm just trying to find the best way to have healthy discussions about a life that I know my child can avoid.
Right. That's the key.
I'm not even trying to hide.
That's the key.
I'm not exposing them unnecessarily.
Right.
But I'm not trying to hide the fact that I can't even imagine what issues my children are going to face or see others facing, and sometimes feel drawn into it, guilty about it, helpless concerning it, whatever it might be. I guess my job the days of just put them on the altar and pray for them. There's more than that. And we want to intervene, but honestly, here's the part. The kids are not all right, but when it comes to helping them, we're not all right either.
We're not. I don't know how many times my son has came home this year, 7th grade, and said such and such is in JJC.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
7th grade.
And I want to turn the corner with this, because I am fearful that another good thing can end up becoming another crutch, easy out, silver bullet, and that's mental health counseling and, resources and services and all that kind of stuff. And I hear you, Rosalind. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And I want to do that. But if my little buddy starts saying some off the wall stuff and he's just a little tyke,
right?
I'm a man. I'm gonna try to steer him and direct him the best I can. But there might be some things, and I've sat in conferences. We're being invited to all these discussions. And I just want to be clear, even to the people that I want to be allied with, people that have allied, now they're coming to pastors and we're talking about mental health. And I'm on the verge of having a whole doggone mental health ministry. And after we have prayer time at altar call, if you want to stay, if you want to call somebody, if we need to do a hotline, that's all well and good. But we are still a fish out of water in this world.
Absolutely.
And you probably dealt with it and I've dealt with it. I've gotten that inbox of that call. Somebody, I'm talking on the edge.
Right.
I'm thinking about doing something to myself or someone else. We're afraid to give the wrong answer. Oh,
because you don't know. Absolutely.
No.
You almost want to lie.
I mean, for real.
You almost.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's burst my bubble. And I'm sorry, y'all just religiously incorrect. So here goes. That's burst my bubble on the whole. Well, God will give you what to say. And okay, fine. Let me send you one of these inboxes I be getting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, like, come on. The highest preaching, anointed prophet. Let me sing you these. Let me see how you respond to this, because this is off the wall. Like,
Absolutely.
and when I say off the wall, not because there's something wrong with them. It's nothing wrong with it. They are dealing with life and struggling as people have done for thousands of years, and I get it. But now it's this expectation that everybody's supposed to be able to handle it. It's like asking everyone to suddenly become a medical doctor.
Right.
Because that's what mental health is. It's an actual, special practice. It's a discipline. It's something that requires some informed. And I'm sorry, but sitting in a conference and being invited even to some sit downs, it's I still feel lost with youth and adults.
Absolutely.
Their parents. Because how do I even get in the middle of this? And here's the other part. Because we haven't been overexposed. There's less that I can relate to.
Right.
So when someone's like, well, you just told me the story about fighting parents. Well, I didn't have that. You've had some of that. Right. You've watched it. So at least you might be able to really get down in the dirt with the young man or a young lady who's like, man, I've watched this. And I know, and you could be like, man, listen, I was hiding in my room too. I know what it's like to try to fight the guy. I know,
Absolutely.
There are going to be a lot of us who cannot relate, or we might relate from a different context where even what we relate to, we probably couldn't even put into practice now, because your answer was go find a knife and try to defend your mom and blah, blah, blah. And so obviously you're not giving that, not giving that out, but it's, and then thank you, Pastor Tatum. There's a lot of legal stuff involved in this. And can we even go a little deeper?
That's good. Yes.
Not legal, legal on two levels. In real court.
Right.
And in the court of public opinion.
Absolutely.
Because what happens when that mom or dad, if you're asked to say a word to their kid and they come back to you, I'm not talking about accusation of perversion. I'm just saying, even you gave bad advice. You told my boy this.
Or what happens when you tell homegirl you really need to leave, homeboy. But homegirl decides to stay and say, Pastor Todd or Pastor Jeff really told me I should leave.
Tried to break us up. Yeah.
The homeboy come to my church.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And even, because we're going to speak from the context that we are in. No, but thank you, Roslyn. I'm reading your comments, and we can address, in specifically, but trust me, I'm hearing you and I'm reading you, and I'll connect with you. Trust me, I'll connect with you. But I'm hearing what you're saying, because what Roslyn is saying is exactly what we're dealing with, where we are sometimes put in the middle of scenarios and circumstances where, who am I to tell a parent what they should and should not do?
Right.
Because I do have, and I've been down this road now for some 15 years now. I remember when I was screaming at parents, take their phones. Take their phones. They should not have these phones. And a lot of us were screaming that before it got to where it is now.
Right.
But once it started snowballing, I'm like, we told you. They're not mature enough for this.
Right.
And honestly, because I was a college student once, I was on my own once. And listen, when we came up, the internet was just coming off a dial-up. Okay, I was in college early 2000s. The internet was just coming up off a dial-up. Can we be real clear here? The Black Planet, the MySpace, the ability to connect with people you don't really know, living your life in front of people was just starting to happen, and it was like stunted at the time. There was only so much you could do.
Yeah.
Pornography. I remember it well.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It was.
I had a big satellite. You had to get it. That joint had to. It took about 10 minutes to get to that one channel. You're like,
that one
hey,
channel.
mom gonna be home before you. My mother.
But can you imagine? And I mean, I know this sounds crazy to y'all, but I'm just religiously correct. And what we were just watching folk do it.
Yeah.
Can we be clear here? Our pornography was just watching people have sex. Literally. Just have sex. This stuff. I mean, I'm fearful for my children. Like, what are y'all gonna see? They taking cartoons and anime and AI. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And let's be clear. I am in no way. Let me say this first of all. I am in no way homophobic, but it's making it easier for kids because it's so
exploration.
Yeah, it's so prevalent now.
And in a way, this won't sound pastoral to a lot of y'all, especially my down home people. In a way, I would rather a person be able to healthily discover whatever feelings
Absolutely.
they're having.
Absolutely.
Even if my personal conviction is that I wish they could find freedom in God's plan for man and woman.
Absolutely.
But I'd rather they not walk around with the feeling that they have to be less than a human or kill themselves. But like, does that have to mean drag show?
But see, that's what I'm saying is, I think it's become I don't even think a lot of these people actually have these feelings. It's just a popular thing to do now.
It's a possibility that didn't exist in the same way before.
Right.
As a norm, like, you had to really be like.
Right.
You were risky. It was almost,
Right.
when we were coming up, I'm being serious. When we were coming up, being out was like the early church being a Christian. Like, you had to take a risk.
A real risk.
A risk.
Because somebody you gonna get beat down.
You gonna get beat down. All that kind of stuff. So I'm saying that's all the pressure that somebody dealt with, but most of us weren't thinking about the same way. We had to encounter it. And so, thank you. And going back to media and things, parents need to understand that the children are dealing with the people they connect with and the algorithm that sends specific content to their feeds.
Yes.
Now, I want to speak to that because there is a danger, as Leah said, in how we are programmed, but also how we are allowing ourselves to be programmed. And what you just said is a microcosm of that word algorithm, which simply means pattern.
Right.
For my uninitiated, it just simply means pattern. All it means is you set a pattern of what you like. If you walked into a restaurant and ordered chocolate cake 3 times, and after that, you never ordered again, they would just start bringing you chocolate cake because that's what you order. It's like the old school. You go to the cafe and the clerk says, you want your everyday special?
Coffee with 2 creamers, right?
Coffee with 2 creamers? Mm-hmm. Okay. You give me the usual, right?
Right.
That's what TikTok is. That's what Facebook is. So watch this for adults and kids. Let's start with adults, though, because adults are the ones feeding our kids.
Right.
If your usual is Facebook debates about relationships, is fight videos, is I can't believe this star did this, check the comments for this crazy video of a teacher beating up a kid in class. If that's the usual, Kevin Samuels or whoever his female counterpart is, whatever the memes are, then the usual will not be, hey, this mentorship group is going on down the street from you.
Right. Absolutely.
Facebook doesn't care that you live 3 blocks away from that guy that's mentoring boys. Facebook only cares what you like. So filter that down now to the children. Facebook only cares that my kids like those stupid videos where they be like shooting basketballs from skyscrapers and stuff.
It's called a For You page. It's designed for you.
And you are creating it. But let's be honest, that's just a microcosm of life.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a microcosm of life. It is very clear to anybody who has watched me grow up that I am George's son. I got my own ways about me. I preach and operate in the church in ways that my dad has never and never will. Like, I got this preachy side and this churchified, all this like church politics stuff. Not saying my dad's not churchy because he is the most saved guy.
Absolutely.
He's blessed and highly favored all the time. But I'm in this different realm and world, right? But if you look at me, the way I handle my boys.
Listen, Mike, we over to Todd's house the other day. What holiday was over there?
It was Memorial Day.
And somebody was like, do you got a screwdriver? He's like, do I? Do I? I start crying. I said, Todd about to bring out 3 toolkits, just to get one.
I'm George Johnson's boy.
What size do you need? You need Phillips? You need fathead?
We were metric system. What we on? Standard?
I mean, the way he said, do I?
That's an
almost
insult.
like it was an insult.
That was an insult. That was an insult. But I'm saying it is very evident that I am George's boy. There's just no, and Linda's son. There's no, and I can't get away from that either. I'm still the mama's boy, still Linda's son. Y'all don't talk about mom as much, but I mean, she's my heart. And I'm her heart, and I know I am. I'm the favorite. I'm the best. But what I'm saying is, I know, and here's the other pushback. Well, I did my best, and the kid still went his way. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but I'm saying that there will probably be that used to be like the exception story.
Right.
That kid just kind of went his own way, and the parents did their best. That seems to be like not the story most of the time. Many times but then again, it's what is doing your best.
It's,
I mean, because what do you call? Because what are we willing to call at this point? Doing your best.
absolutely. See, here's the scary thing. Because you have like this whole microcosm of everybody trying to. You are George's son. I see so much of your dad in you, and you can look up to your dad though. You know, what I mean? You could look. You know, we see your dad in church. I'm trying my hardest not to be my dad.
Right.
And so you got a whole nother group of people trying their hardest not to be that.
How many are succeeding?
Genealogy, that inherited trait.
Okay, Let me flip it. There's a lot of Todds out there not trying to be George. There's a lot of Mikes out there not trying to be Matt.
Right.
The other side of the epidemic nobody's talking about is the pressure to live as dysfunctional, as unstable as the world around you,
Absolutely.
even when you're really not. Mm-hmm. Even when you're really not. You know what I mean? And we've watched it with others, because here's the thing, man, like bullying used to be for the poor, broke kids whose shoes were flapping. Mm-hmm. Now bullying is for the child that has two parents and lives
absolutely
in a nice middle class house, mm-hmm. and can afford a couple of decent things. Might not even be living fancy, but it's like, who do you think you are?
Right.
You know, and again, I see what I would just call a lot of overcorrection. It's like, yes, we were too hard on kids in some phases. And so now that old line, I'm not going to do my kids the way I was done, and I'm going to go to the other extreme. Yes, people used to think that they were better than others because they had the nice house, the nice car, maybe because they went to church or were religious or whatever. I'm going to go to the other extreme and glorify griminess. Act as if this is the real. Be as unspiritual as possible and mock everything spiritual or, structured or stable, and challenge anybody who speaks back at that and claims that that might be detrimental to our children. Absolutely. And so I think that there's not a program in the world, there's not funding, none of that can stop the downward spiral of basic morality and right and wrong. And I'm not even talking about you got to be saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled. It's just like, can we agree to at least like 5 of the 10 commandments? Like the ones that like just govern basic civil, behavior. Marlon, I want to put Marlon's up because I missed your last one about correcting other kids. But the issue becomes when the parent is broken from dysfunction, it passes down to the child. That is correct, whether they are in 2-parent or single-parent homes. And can I say something about that whole 2-parent thing and the stability thing? And it's like we're so obsessed with the culture of exposure or telling the real truth about what it was. And what you said about, daddy had a secret family or this was going on or the preacher was phony or whatever. And so it almost makes like the basic morality principle wrong.
Right.
Because somebody violated it.
But see, here's the thing, Pastor Todd. And I think this is another thing that we don't want to talk about, that this thug life, these hardcore cats is so glorified. I'm sitting up here the other day talking to a pastor who's saying his child, he came from a good home.
Right.
Grew up nice, got all, but still wants to live this life. I don't know how many times I saw it on Facebook or on one of these social media sites where the girl said, we're all the good guys. Y'all dogging us out for thugs. And that's what the guys are saying. If I want y'all, I got to be this thug life. I got to live this image. I got to show y'all that I'm hard too.
Stability is boring.
And so you can't teach thug life.
Stability is boring. Like,
absolutely.
A man that goes to work and makes a decent wage. And I'm saying again, kids are absorbing this. Kids are absorbing. The biggest danger for us was like too much fast food. Like dumb stuff.
Right.
Kids are absorbing instant gratification. I wrestle with my children. Let's look at something silly like sneakers. it used to just be I need Nikes. Then it was I need Jordans. Now it's like I need custom StockX. I need them Peach Fuzz, Mario Kart.
They be like, you got the five what? The Jordan 2020. I'm like, I don't know what none of that is.
Okay, she has a question. Tatum has Marlon has a question. Do you think some parents are scared to correct their children's bad behavior? I don't think they're scared to correct their children's bad behavior. I don't think they carry the same definition of what bad behavior is and what the severity of it is. I don't think they. I mean, we're talking about parents that laugh at kids who curse. They laugh at kids. You know, we have parents that laugh at kids who curse or do things. And as soon as you say something, and you said it earlier, Marlon, as soon as another parent corrects or says something more adult, you know, they'll be like, oh, man, don't act like you ain't never heard no curse words. You think you're so perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But I'm like, well, if it really was a mistake, then it's something you would want to correct and say that's not something we do.
I'm gonna go a little bit further and say, I think oftentimes we live in a day and age where the parents nowadays are living their own life.
Oh, definitely.
So they don't even know. Oftentimes, kids live in such a dichotomy that they do. Everybody has.
And they're living it together.
Multiple personalities.
Right.
So at home, they this person, but in the streets, they that person. And you don't find out that they're even that person until you get a call from the police department.
Sometimes. You're correct. Sometimes. You be like, I never thought that would be him. Right. But you're like, yeah, we knew. You know. Tatum said we have glamorized the thug life and then get mad when they want it. That is correct. And I mean, I'm being real here. Oh, thank you very much. That's right there, Mariah. I don't think they are scared. I think they think it's cute. I know what you're trying to say. They think it's cute. Kids are literally having kids. And it's like, they really are like dolls, like little dolls and da-da-da-da. And like, so when something jumps off, perfect example.
Wow. Just that end of Tiffany's thing.
A lot of parents are not honorable, so the kids have no one to respect and no one to disappoint.
No one to disappoint. That's deep.
That
you
is
don't
good.
have no one to disappoint.
And maybe that's the overcorrection of a love theology where just like we talk about the Bible as a balance. I'm writing a paper right now about 2 John is a balance between love and truth. And we talk about our kids need love and kids need discipline. But it's like we've shifted the rules on what that love looks like, and we shifted the rules on what that discipline looks like.
Absolutely.
And we haven't found a proper balance. So if my kids turn out all right, the likely response is from half the people is going to be, you did a great job with your kids. You were always in your kids' lives. Because my kids have literally grown up on social media. In a positive way, prayerfully, you know, nothing right yet. They're going to have their bumps. They're going to have their falls. And they'll probably be public because of who we are. Okay. That's the way it's going to be. So before anybody's like, I told y'all. No, I told y'all. I told y'all.
Here on Religiously Incorrect.
All right. Here's the thing though. The other half of people will be resentful and say, you think you're so perfect. You think you're better than us. You think your kids in your suits are better than us. Da, 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 da. I kid you not. When you see that picture of my boys dressed up in suits, you're looking at about $150 between the two of them.
Right.
Suited down from top to bottom. Probably about $130, $150 between the two of them. Okay? I know parents my age who will buy their kids easy $400 tennis shoes. Some kind of way. $700 game systems. Some kind of way. Okay, but what I'm saying is, that argument. Listen, Jeff bought Christian like the PlayStation 7.3. Before it came out.
And I'm going to keep on saying, he's on the honor roll.
Why you have me leaving Warren?
Who said that?
I told y'all.
Hey, but you know what? Here's the thing, Pastor, and I'm going to be honest. I literally start buying my son shoes for school already. But I'm scared. You scared because I know that by the time school starts, he probably gonna have 7, 8 new pair of shoes. But I don't want nobody bullying my son. I just bought. He wouldn't care if he.
I know it.
Christian don't care if he wear, whatever. He cool with it.
He said. I know what Tiffany mentioned. Said, mind your business. I love it. I love it, Brother Ernest. I was born BC before crack. And hey, man, listen, we left that out of the conversation. We did leave it out of the conversation. Let's be clear here. We're dealing with the grandchildren of crack, the crack epidemic.
Absolutely.
We're dealing with the grandchildren, not the children. Crack babies were the 90s. We're dealing with the babies of this reality of mass incarceration, this reality of, urbanization in a negative way, right. Channeling everybody in together. And obviously, drugs becoming a norm. And then the mental, and let's be clear here, the hopelessness that comes from parents, maybe even the lack of morals that comes from adults, does not come from nowhere.
Right.
If you've lived through this, you are raising your children with this aura of hopelessness from the beginning.
Right.
And I'm talking, if you are walking around raising kids now in 2023 and half your family went to jail over drugs and all these white kids are in a treatment center somewhere and the state's getting $100 trillion for settlements and all this stuff while your neighborhood is crap and has been under every administration, every political party, every little, you know what I mean? So it's not like we talk about these bad parents, these kids. It's not like it's just because you're a bad person.
Right.
It's because what we just said. The kids were not all right. The kids that were not all right had kids who are not all right.
Wow. Just a whole lot.
We just didn't know what to call it 25 years ago.
Right.
That's the thing. We didn't know. I'm not blaming and pushing. We didn't know what to call it. And
wasn't no mental health seminars.
Weren't no mental health centers. Weren't no. What was the biggest thing we were trying to do? Community centers. Everybody wanted to build a community center and put a basketball hoop up, and we still talk.
Your mentor was the crack dealer.
Your mentor
on Warren and Hillman.
Right.
That was your mentor. That was the person who...
Because in many cases, the only person that cared.
Right. Absolutely.
So I guess, that's where I'm empathetic, even when I'm frustrated with what I'm looking at. Because, let's just be clear here, there's this dissonance, this distance, whatever you want to call it, between all the information we know about what's informing this and the reality of what it's doing right now. So I can give all these long drawn out speeches about generational trauma and systemic, injustice and all this. I can go on and on. All I really know is I'm trying to keep my daughter, safe and straight headed and keep them ninjas away from her.
Absolutely.
That's really, because if something were to jump off and let's say some dude tries to bear down on her and all that professorial stuff is out the window. I don't care now.
Absolutely.
And I don't, because I'm still a man. I'm still a father. If somebody breaks in my house, I don't care that your father's in jail. I could care less.
None at all.
But I'm saying I care when I'm able to sit down and talk about it. But here's the problem. We cannot live lives just sitting down and talking about it. And I'm not saying we got to do something. I'm saying we can't live a life ruminating on this because we are in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of the firefight every day, all of us.
And can I please be religiously incorrect? Because that's what this show is.
Be religiously incorrect before we go.
We sat down there all day. Every popular singer in Warren sang a Christian song, sang they hearts out.
Brother.
They prayed. They done all this. They done all that. And trust and believe. I'm a pastor. I believe in prayer.
Soul was anchored.
See, all
the precious Lord did. When I call your name, did y'all sing something, CJ? Did y'all do something? Did y'all do a set?
See, there you go.
All right, y'all. Okay, y'all did CCM. Y'all did whatever. Okay. Paul and his people was out there doing a Holy Ghost revival. The 6-year-old evangelist, Larry's boy, was out there. The 6-year-old okay. All the power in the world was there.
If there should have been no time in the world where there shouldn't have been a shooting.
Right.
So let's stop that.
Okay. Susie said, teach children, especially male sons, to dress sharp and learn to make up a tie. Young ladies need to dress up too. They will eventually learn that looking presentable for interviews, attending church, school dances, going to court, going to functions that require suits and ties. I agree with you, Susie. But a lot of people would call that, from a different angle, respectability politics, meaning that if you dress right, people will treat you right. And I think there's a pushback against that. But honestly, I support that. I wish schools had uniforms. I do. I wish schools had uniforms. I wish that we did adhere to a higher standard. You know what pisses me off a little bit, and sorry for using that word on here, but you know what ticks me off a lot is we'll celebrate all these sharp dressed kids on Facebook and these little photos that go viral and Black Family, whatever they call it, these stupid pages that that's all they do is supposed to. It's like, so if that's such a great look, why don't you try one on your child once in a while?
Well, you know, and I certainly agree with it. My only problem with it is
everybody don't like that too. Let's be clear.
I mean, I don't think it's that. I just think too often we making people up and not making people over. And I think that's one of the biggest.
I'm not disagreeing, but I think if you started from the beginning of what a young man, I mean, that's my opinion. And that's still because, again, I am old school and I own it. I own old school. I literally said to my boys this morning, we went to Dunkin' Donuts, and we can end on this. We went to Dunkin' Donuts, and the young lady said, young Black girl at the first window said, "Are you a lawyer?" When I gave her my card. And I said, "No, I'm a pastor." And then she said, "Oh, you probably know my uncle?" She mentioned uncle. I said, "Yeah, I know your uncle. We're cool people." The next window was the white lady that I've seen several times, and she already knows I'm a pastor. And she looked in the back and looked for the boys. They're always sharp dressed. And, you know, they actually had on like button up shirts. And she just had this smile on their face like, oh, they're going to church again. He's getting their donuts on the way to church. It was like that old neighborhood kind of feeling. You know what I mean? So it did matter in a way. And to me, that does matter, but only as much as the mentality you're teaching matches.
That's what I mean. Yes.
The dress that you're expecting. And I mean, I don't want my boys to be sharp dressed boys because they probably won't, because they are all boys. And I'm grateful for that, because honestly, I don't want some little prissy models.
Right.
So I'm cool for that too, because Lord knows they about to get a little tight and they walking around with tassels on their shoes. We're going to have a top.
High water.
I'll come with
high water tight.
They have a tambourine in a case.
Legs pressing charges on their pants. Ain't nobody trying to see all that.
But I also want them to have sharp minds.
Right.
And I want them to know the meaning and the time and place for it.
Absolutely.
You're not here to impress people, to think you're better than people, but I do want you to feel good. And listen, you take any boy. If I took Roslyn's little one, he's a real little guy, and I've been actually thinking about it, so I'm not making no promises, but I was thinking about, man, I want to grab him a little something. Man, when you do that, give a kid a fresh haircut and put them in something, every little kid, them little weddings y'all put them kids in. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get mad because I'm like, how do you not see that?
Right.
Don't you see how proud this little girl is in her little white dress? Don't y'all see that? And I'm not saying it's the answer. I'm not saying it's the answer. I'm just saying it provides another wrinkle to life that they obviously haven't seen, and they're wowed by it. But you haven't given them a chance.
My son would look in the mirror for 10. He think he is, whoa, my God.
I be catching them, man. They be voguing and stubby.
I'm like, what? Get out of here.
Yeah. Last couple comments or questions. And again, these are just our opinions. We're not trying to give answers. I know a lot of this stuff might be incorrect, not just religiously, but maybe even socially. And Mariah is correct. Yeah, parents and kids picking out the clothes. I just preached about that. I literally went off the rails on my baby blessing and just started talking about that. Like, you cannot raise a kid while you're trying to be a kid.
That's right.
And by the way, and trying to date your kids' friends.
Ooh.
Trying to date your kids' friends. Because you decided that 40 is the new 20. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. And I literally made a joke, and I almost thought to myself, oh, this might be inappropriate. And it was. But I was literally like the running joke is, I'm out here with somebody's son. I know that doesn't necessarily mean minor or young, but it's like the whole idea is, let me go find a young one. Let me go find it, this, that, and this back forth. And that's like the online joke all the time. I'm out here with somebody's son. I'm blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, but at a certain angle, there's just like, you just didn't declare that open. Like, I get it. I'm not, cougarism has always been around, blah, 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 blah. But like, it got to be one or the other.
Right.
Either that's predatory behavior or it's not, because the only difference is a few years between legality and not. And let's be careful, maturity is not there either, and a lot of that dynamic. So if we're not allowing people to grow up in the spaces where they're supposed to be, kids are supposed to be kids, young adults are supposed to be young adults, grown folks are supposed to be grown folk. And
old folk need to be old. Be old. Date somebody old.
Right. Be old, yeah. Y'all just go out and get some denture cream together and, you know what I'm saying? Rub that Bengay on each other. Do what you do. So that's just That's the mentality. But again, I think a big part of it is morality, and we're just wrapping up. I think morality breakdown. I think a little bit of generational blurring, like Mariah mentioned, the generational blurring, where that goes back to grown folks' business,
absolutely,
exposing kids to too much, and then not checking ourselves. We had a comment about the young lady, and when you mentioned about the repping for the Ball brothers.
I tries, brother. I tries.
When people, I wish. And I know everybody's not in the mindset, but when your child is involved in something they shouldn't be involved in, especially if you're kind of familiar with the story that got them there and you're a part of the story that got them there, the least you can do is be one of the biggest cheerleaders and advocators and even admonishers of others.
Absolutely.
To say, look at my story. You don't want this. I have the biggest respect for any brother, sister, whatever that's gone down the wrong path, at least would not live their whole life justifying and just saying it's hard out here, I have respect for people who say, I did this to myself, or at least I played some part in it, or this happened to me, and maybe it really did bear down on me, but I want to do my best to try to encourage someone that I understand, and I want to see you better than me, and not just live in this whole world of justification. Because to be religiously correct, that is literally the definition of what a stronghold is if you can continue to justify something that is wrong and develop strong arguments for it. That's what the strongholds are. Not demons jumping on you throwing up in trash cans. Strongholds is you have adapted to a way that is antithetical to goodness and what is helpful and what is healthy and what is godly, of course. But you have developed an entire worldview that justifies it, so that mentally you can't wrap your head around what is good and what is pure and what is godly. Absolutely. And that's the part we're not talking about. It's real mind work as much as it is soul work.
Yes, yes.
And we don't want to work on our minds, because to work on your mind would be to admit that you were wrong about what you thought before.
And can I just say this?
Yeah.
And I know we got to close. I think we have to stop upholding wrong.
Yeah. Stop defending it.
Let
wrong be wrong.
If it's wrong,
let it be wrong. Without a qualification,
absolutely.
Without a whataboutism. I'm so sick of that. Well, what about?
Even if it's your kid, even if it's your nephew, even if it's your neighbor, if you know that they were involved, because somebody's kid.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, okay.
Even if your kid got caught and somebody else didn't.
Come on.
Stop focusing on the one that didn't get caught. Right. And it should have been this. Listen. If 5 people are speeding and 2 people get pulled over, 2 people who were speeding got pulled over, they were speeding. It didn't change the fact of what they did.
That's right.
And it's like, I'm not saying be absolute and not fight for justice, but it's just this issue of getting even at some point?
Right.
Or is it just addressing what is wrong? Because you can't correct that other kid that got off, but you can acknowledge yours or your life or your family. So I'm with you that. Let wrong be wrong. Because we can't even agree often that something's wrong without a whole doggone debate, discussion. What about?
Yeah.
They literally, if we say like, man, a kid threw a brick through my window. Yeah, but it be preachers out here with kids. And I'm like, but that has nothing to do with the kid who threw the brick. I get that, and yes, that's wrong. But I'm not like into this world of eternal deflection.
That's it. Eternal deflection.
That's what I'm not going to do, is eternal deflection. Because there is some other wrong somewhere else or in some other facet of this, it does not change the wrong that is in front of us that we're addressing. And our inability to compartmentalize that and deal with issues as they come is kind of why we can't solve anything, because we're trying to address everything at the same time. So Big Mike, take us out of here, because you know you're ready to go.
Oh, no, I'm good. Great conversation. But I did have a question for you guys.
Okay.
I had this discussion last week with the older gentleman, older black gentleman, ex-military. And he suggested sending these kids to the military.
Woo! Listen.
Instead of sending them to jail.
Listen.
I've been saying it forever.
I'm a proponent of military school, boarding school. Send these kids to camp.
I've said that I think every kid after they graduate should do 2 years in the military.
I mean, not me, but all y'all.
The ones coming up now.
Not the kids that wear suits with their dad to church, but all those other kids. No,
I'm serious, because it teaches you, and it gives you stability. It teaches you how to, live. It teaches you everything. And I think that if every kid done that, we would live in a whole different society.
Give them a knife and push them out in the woods somewhere.
And then I think these thugs who think going down the street shooting a drive-by.
Send them to Iraq.
Yeah, when they throw a rock at you.
I mean, but he was saying even the younger ones. I mean, of course, depending on the crime. But like 15, 16,
military boot camp,
military school, some kind of program where the government
ROTC.
But the cats that get hired, they'll be beating them kids and punching them in the face and stuff. So I mean, it's like you can't win.
I thought it was
Scroll
a good
up a little
idea
bit because I missed something. I missed something. I saw what Lights Out at Night. That's what I'm talking about. I saw your thing, Jimmy. We have to get our kids back in church. Absolutely. I seriously believe that the only salvation, and this is, I'm not saying spiritual salvation, but the salvation of a people is structure and stability.
Absolutely.
I just believe structure and stability is our only salvation. And you can't tell me that if in our little city of Warren, that if 50 young families started going to church, 50 young families in our city started going to church on a regular basis, big church, small church, Baptist church, Pentecostal, doesn't matter. You can't tell me that our overall, and just from being in that positive spiritual atmosphere, the atmosphere of expectation, the atmosphere of community, imperfect as it is, hypocritical as it is, all that, you can't tell me that would not create some difference.
And let me say this
Big
too.
difference.
Sunday school, y'all need to get back to Sunday school. Y'all forgot about Sunday school. Sunday schools used to be packed.
Don't even read them little church comics anymore.
That's right.
Scroll down
Make
all the
some
way.
breakfast for
We
Sunday
gotta go.
school.
We on 90 minutes. They need to go at 14. I mean, I just believe it. It costs. Scared Straight with Rikers. Oh, y'all was at Rikers. What?
Is she serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious, Pastor? At Rikers? Oh, no, dog.
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah, Rikers ain't no joke.
I agree with
That
Tiffany.
would
I'm
definitely,
gonna leave
scare
that.
some people
I'm gonna leave
straight.
that right. Yeah, in Israel, I went to Israel. You have to do time in the service. You have to do 2 years minimum, and they are not up in. I mean, it's cats like driving into markets with suicide bombers, but I mean, they're not walking around like robbing liquor stores.
Right.
It's not happening. I just want to end on Tiffany's. Everyone is always asking what the village is. It's in the church. I believe it.
Preach, girl.
I believe it.
What your name is? Who your husband is?
Listen, hypocrites, phony people, broken people, sometimes scandalous people, but a lot of goodness, a lot of love, a lot of tough love, a lot of discipline, and all that stuff is there. But it's no different than the village outside the church.
Absolutely.
Except
hey,
God
church
is there.
talk. Church talk is sexy to me. We got to go. I gotta get home.
Mr. Holy Horny over here.
It's a holy horny. Talk some more God stuff to me,
You
baby.
walking there?
Talk some more God stuff to me.
If you walk in there with a collar on, I quit. Hey, we love y'all. Thank y'all for sticking around our long service. Thank you for bringing that up, Roz. We're doing the food giveaway thing at Second Baptist, so y'all stop by. Tell somebody. People are hungry. You know they are. But I'm serious. And this might went off the rails for some of you. We're not here to please everybody. Some people might have said, I can't get with that, or y'all giving easy answers, or I don't like that. Hey, we're just here to chat it. We're not here to bring.
And y'all can put your answers in the comments.
And we don't have any real solutions.
Yeah, y'all can put your answers in the comments.
Ask AI how to raise your kid. How about that? Ask AI.
Science is Sunday school and Bible study.
Sunday school and Bible study. That's it.
That's it.
Carter.
That's it. So,
Like we're getting ready to bring like Girl Scouts back at Second Baptist.
Okay.
We're bring Girl Scouts back, Second Baptist. Again, another positive thing. But would you put your child in it? Would you stick with it? If you sell cookies, will we actually get the money? Or will you be out there slanging?
Let's
Do-si-dos?
go, y'all. Let's go. Y'all running
Y'all
out.
be out there slanging do-si-dos. Hey, I love y'all. Follow us on Religiously Incorrect. We had a good time. I'm sorry we were away. We are doing a Father's Day show because nobody cares about fathers. So after we get done cooking our own meals and doing our own grilling and paying for our own presents while our wives pull our credit cards.
Putting that one tie in the closet with all the rest of the ties we already got.
After we get done using that Axe body spray and $5 toolkits from Burlington, we'll be back on next week at 8 o'clock. We love y'all. Take us out, man, or I'll keep talking.